Man.
What's wrong, Tony?
I just can't pass this water temple. I just can't.
Fear not, gamers. Moss is here.
Wow, Moss is here. He's kind of a big deal.
Yes, I am. And I'm here to tell you to check out ZeldaDungeon.net for all your Legend of Zelda needs. Stuck on a dungeon?
Uh-huh.
We've got you covered. We've got the most extensive Zelda walkthroughs on the net.
Wow.
News, previews, articles, walkthroughs, and so much more. ZeldaDungeon.net. And don't forget about the entire Dungeon Gaming family. Gen Game, Pokemon, Darksiders, we've got it all. And if we don't have it, you don't need it.
Thanks, Moss!
You're welcome.
Hello and welcome once again to the Forward Compatible Podcast. This is episode 63, part 2, for April 21st, 2013. My name's Tony, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow podcasters Mark and Jason.
Doing this twice in a day is still weird.
I actually like it like this, because now for the first part, because I always forget who's supposed to go first for the Jason, Mark,
both.
Jason. I could just do one of each every
Man,
week.
if you mess up, you have to... can you ever catch up then?
You know what's funny is that he gives the date, but then it totally is not posted anywhere near that date.
Well, it's the day we recorded.
We've been doing it for a long time.
Well,
Yeah.
it's to give
Well,
a little
we only-
perspective, because if I say April 21st and you don't if you don't upload to the 22nd, but on the 22nd the new Xbox gets announced, I can't get blamed because we said it's from the 21st.
So now I'm going to drop the time or the dates from the title, just so when a scenario like that happens, he gets blamed for it.
People just hate mail. Oh, no,
You're so more.
You missed the biggest news story ever.
So, of course, before we jump in, last week was our first week doing the split show, and we had a very special interview with Missing Worlds Media about the Phoenix Project. And again, want to just send out a thank you to them. It's our second highest viewed show that we've ever done.
Yeah,
Behind,
it was excellent.
Behind
Moss
that
is
horse,
the great one.
You know, the first appearance, which posted up on Zelda Dungeon or whatever, and got like 3,000 views on it.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of that, by the way? We didn't even ask, our regular listeners that have been with us for ever.
Like over a year.
That was our first interview.
Yeah.
How do we do?
What do you think?
Did you... I was sweating a lot. Did it come through?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were kind of nervous. Mm-hmm. I think it turned
Just
out
a
well.
little bit, yeah. We're definitely we hopefully we're going to be doing some more of those down the line with a couple of different people and things and whatnot.
You can interview me.
Nobody cares about you.
God damn it.
You're not-
There's so many interesting things that go on in my life, though.
You're not
like my
kind
secret
of a big
agentness.
You're not kind of a big deal.
Damn it.
Hint, hint.
Yet. One day.
So, sir, take it away.
Yeah, in the event you haven't yet, please check out part 1 of this week's episode where we cover the news and reader email.
Yeah, what are you doing here on part 2 already? Go to part 1.
And you find out exactly how Mark got that STD.
Yeah, and then give it to Tony.
It's true. They got pills for it. I'm not worried.
Kind of expensive.
Tony's topic of the week. Was that like the fireworks at the end of the song?
No, I was just
you opening the popcorn.
I didn't want to throw you off your game. He's like the dog from fucking Up. Squirrel. What was I?
This week, it's actually like 8-day-old news, but last week already had the topic of the week preordained, so I pushed it back to this week.
How dare you?
We're going to be talking about the one,
The only Fat Man.
God, you suck, Jason.
I'm reviewing notes, man. Since I had to do all the work for Tony this week.
The Batmobile lost its wheel, and the Joker got away.
Have you ever heard Mark Hamill sing it?
Probably better than me a
He
little
does
bit.
in Batman the Animated Series. The episode's called Christmas with Joker.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's actually why I know
It was like the year you were born.
Yeah, no, I actually watched it within the last 2 months, actually.
Lies and falsities.
No, I downloaded all of the original series, actually.
And the rest of it, in Justice League and Batman Beyond and Justice League Unlimited and Batman Brave and the Bold is now all available on Netflix.
It is.
Everything
I
except
started
the
to watch-
animated series.
Yeah, it is. I actually
Those
started
bastards.
Batman Beyond, actually, yesterday.
Yeah, fucking A.
Yeah, I watch them.
Speaking of Batman Beyond, that's why
Yeah.
I'm working so hard in Injustice mobile, because that's the only way to unlock the Batman Beyond costume for Batman.
Yeah, fucking A.
Hell yeah.
Well, for this week, I'm sure it'll be all over the board in the Batman universe. But primarily, what we wanted to discuss is, of course, we have 2 new Batman games announced. The first of which.
That sounded like Mario Brothers.
That's what it was. That's what he was doing.
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
we were talking about that in part 1. Go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. So we have, of course, Arkham Asylum Origins. Is that what they're calling it?
Yes, sir.
Or Arkham Origins.
Batman Arkham Origins.
That's what they're calling it. Okay. So we have that one. That is confirmed. We'll get into that later. That's basically the console game. There's a handheld version coming out as well. And we'll get to that in a second.
The handheld is called
Blackgate.
It is
right?
Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate.
Yes.
And it is going to be available on the 3DS and the Vita.
Yes, separate title. We'll get into both of them. Is there one that you guys have a preference on, or should we start with the handheld one?
Handheld it.
Get the handheld out of the way.
Okay.
I like to handhold it.
As we just mentioned, this is going to be the Vita and 3DS version. Important side note. Both of these games have 2 different developers, neither of which are Rocksteady.
Yes.
So this isn't a game that's being ported down to the Vita and the 3DS by the same developer who's making the console version. Two different teams working on 2 separate games that all intertwine onto the same story. Again, back to the Vita and 3DS one. This is going to be a side-scrolling platformer in the Metrovania type style. It's going to be, what are they calling it?
2.5 3D.
Exactly.
That's a really old term.
Yeah.
Mark, I do lighting. I make video games.
The company that's making the handheld versions is called Amateur.
That's just such a bad name.
It's
Armature? Sorry.
Oh, okay, that's
Armature.
a little bit better.
No, these guys.
I'm just like, well, I have no standards for this.
These guys have an excellent pedigree. They actually were the ones who made the Metroid Prime, all of them, or 1 or 2 of them. I don't know.
That
We don't
good
remember.
one?
We don't remember. No, they've made some excellent
Yeah.
games before, so this isn't like some bullshit studio out of the blue.
When he says amateur, I'm just like, well.
Sorry, I apologize.
Armchair. Yeah.
I've got a lot of notes, 3 pages worth.
I think you called me STD.
Yeah.
So let's get some initial thoughts on the Vita game. What do you guys think?
Sounds like it'd be pretty cool. I like how they're doing this because they started. I guess Assassin's Creed's probably one of the first ones who did this with the. I think they had one on the PSP that was different as well.
Bloodlines.
Yeah, Bloodlines. And it's kind of cool because like some of the time I think it's gonna end up being a cooler game, expand the universe a little bit.
Well, that's actually that's a part of it. Is the Blackgate game will continue the story of Origins, and then it'll delve further into Batman's past. So kind of like his training and so on and so forth.
Yeah, to me, this is nothing but excellent news. As much as I appreciate the PS3 games that get scaled down to the Vita, or the PS2 and PS1 games working on the Vita, I'd much rather see more of these, like the companion type games. Assassin's Creed did this really well last year. They released Assassin's Creed 3 on the consoles, and then you got Liberation, a handheld-only version that ties in.
One bad one, one good one.
Liberation was actually quite good.
Yeah, that's what I meant, the good one.
Speaking of the handhelds, I know it's a little bit farther away from it, but when Arkham City came out, NetherRealm actually made the mobile version of the game, which was Arkham City Lockdown, and that was actually really well done. Mm-hmm. Really well done.
Yep.
Yeah, they got rid of the lazy assholes who used to make Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Take that, Ed Boon. No. Still.
No, literally, you
Yeah.
can talk to any of the old people from Midway, and they'll say, yeah, they were lazy assholes back then. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing, I was wondering, I mean, as of late, the last 2 Batman games, we have that very, very well done free flow combat system.
Yeah.
That's been
That's
implemented
great.
in the last couple games. Do you guys think they'll be able to somehow bring that over to a 2D-ish environment?
No.
I think you'll see more of your traditional side-scrolling brawler.
I think they really should look at, I know I had mentioned it a long time ago, Mark and the Ninja did their combat really well. That was an arcade game that came out last year. It was your ferret or dog, I forget. But no, I mean, literally, they did a side-scrolling combat, and it was actually really well done. And it's something that recently came out that I think is going to end up looking, both games will look similar. Side-scrolling, half stealth, half combat kind of thing.
As for me, it's obvious they won't be able to bring the exact free-flow combat system that they've implemented because, as many of you who played the game are familiar with, I mean, it's kind of like in that third-person vantage point where enemies can be coming in at you from a full 360 degrees. That's going to be too hard to implement onto a 2D platformer. But as for the actual combat combo-based system, I think they can bring that over very well because you even look at the way that Drinkbox has made Guacamelee as of late, and that's a 2D platformer, and their combo system is...
You're drunk.
Are you drunk?
I'm just hiccuping. They got their combo system works ridiculously well for a 2D platformer. So if you take something like that, and the cool thing with Guacamelee is the more you hit, the more you unlock. Mm. So I mean, if you hit square 3 times in a row, you can only do one of 3 more things. Mm. But then if you hit square, 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 then you hit the circle button. Now it unlocks 3 more buttons you can hit. So you could turn these combos into trees of
I play a few
ever extending chains. And if you implement something like that into Batman, I think it would work really well on a 2D screen.
I'm interested in it, especially since I know obviously I don't expect the 3DS version to be as graphically sound as the Vita. But since I am planning on getting a 3DS, that is probably one that I'll pick up. Just because.
You could see it on my Vita, and then you could cry about how shitty your 3DS graphics.
Doesn't matter because you'll ask me to unlock something for you.
Horror.
What's this mean?
They actually
Who's
do
this guy?
Cutscenes. I know I'll go back to Fire Emblem actually has really nice looking cutscenes, but their gameplay is definitely it's not as.
They don't have feet.
They do.
No,
they have boots.
They don't have feet.
Boots.
They got boots.
Weird physics.
Feet
Boots.
disappear. They fall through the world.
Bagoosh.
Do they?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Anyways,
He's drunk.
So, do you guys think this will work?
like the game itself.
Yes, it'll turn on. It's a functioning game.
Starting up, crashing.
More in the way of, I guess, any direction you want to take it. Sales-wise, companion story-wise. Will they be both good enough on their own, but tie in well enough? Will it work?
I don't have high expectations for it. If they sell 100,000 units, I think that's pretty okay for them
And
at least.
it's realistically, it's a handheld tie-in. Traditionally,
And even the Assassin's Creed one, I don't think sold.
traditionally,
What,
Amazing.
Liberation sold like 700,000 units.
Was it really? Okay.
I think it's got the highest attach rate of any Vita game.
Oh,
that's what
okay.
I'm saying. But traditionally, spin-offs or side stories or whatever they may be, they do okay.
I'm looking really forward to this. I hope it works as well as I have it built up in my head. I'm actually quite excited for this game. I would love some Batman on my Vita. So this, to me, sounds it's going to be a great idea.
I take that back from my set. I think they will be able to get maybe like 500,000 or so.
I mean,
I don't think it's as big as
Vita-
Assassin's Creed, so
the
if they
Vita's-
get 500,000, I think it's great.
The Vita's got a bigger install base now than it did.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed did 700,000, and that was just on the Vita. This, you gotta remember you're exposing yourself to the 20 or 30 million 3DSs.
Yeah.
out
That
there.
and I mean,
or even more. I don't
as
know how
much as
many 3DSs
as
are out there.
much as
That's what I mean, like
Assassin's-
500,000 at least.
As much as Assassin's Creed's become a video game franchise, Batman by far eclipses anything that Assassin's Creed can do as far as
Movies,
exposure and
comics.
marketing.
A
and so
few
on and
good
so forth.
reviews will definitely help them out
Yeah.
as well.
Which I don't think they'll have trouble doing. I think this is actually a decent studio making this one.
Let's hope.
Here's another question for you guys.
Yeah.
I know it's a little early to tell, but do we think this will be the best Batman side-scroller ever?
Compared to what that one,
Very
Batman
high
Returns on Sega.
There's been 3 or 4.
They don't have very high. They don't really.
It's not really hard to surpass them. That's what I was going to get at. It's pretty fun. I'm pretty sure I can make the best Batman
They've never been
side-scroller ever.
I'm pretty sure you
terrible,
could.
but
I
they've
could.
never been even in the really good range. They've never been terrible, but they've never been.
Few of them
good.
have been pretty bad.
Few of them have been pretty bad. Okay,
Most of them are just average
I think I've played
games.
2. This is what I mean. They fall in the
even
average
though
range.
even though and this is one of the points, even though Rocksteady's not working on either of these titles, they still have a certain pedigree to live up to and expectation, and I don't think they would just crap on their franchise
Murder
as
their
quickly.
franchise.
But see, then you take something like Call of Duty into account, where you had the gentleman over at Nihilistic completely shit on the first handheld Call of Duty that come to market.
Well, they pooped everywhere on that thing.
They bent over, spread their cheeks, and just dripped all types of brown poop everywhere.
I do get that, but I think with the way that Batman as a video game franchise has been handled in the last 5 years, they can't necessarily do that. They've got a certain bar that they have to meet, and if they didn't have some faith in their product already, it probably wouldn't exist.
You're running low on Coke.
Yeah,
It's like 6 or 7 more in there.
yeah.
Yeah, fucking side-scrolling Batman. Woohoo! All right, so let's move
Now that
on.
we're done with the appetizer.
Well, we'll move on to Origins, and then we'll kind of tie it all in together later.
Batman!
Batman. Okay. Arkham Origins.
Yes,
This is the big boy.
yes. October 25th.
WB Montreal.
Yep.
French.
This is going to be more of the Batman game that people are expecting. A little closer to the kin of Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. And they have received a blessing by Rocksteady. So Rocksteady is A-okay with them doing this.
Yeah.
Some initial thoughts on this game?
Did they give them the engine?
Yes.
I think so.
Woohoo!
Yes.
And they can't mess it up as bad.
Yeah, they'd have to really go out of their way to screw the pooch on this
All right,
one.
so we're going to make Batman turn into a scorpion?
Yep.
Like Vader?
Okay. So I know this is kind of tying it into an older story. I can't think what it's called. Jason's going to have to help me out on this. But I remember we covered a story a few months back about what Rocksteady was doing next. And it was, of course, another Batman Arkham game. But it was supposedly going to take place in...
Well, there was two separate
What was
stories.
the weird one with the money cash bag and the Joker was laughing? And
There's two
What's
different
that style?
there's two different stories here that you're merging together. First, it was reported that Rocksteady was working on another DC superhero game that wasn't
we're gonna get to
Batman.
that in a second, yeah.
What you're referring to is Golden Age.
The Golden Age.
The Golden Age. Golden Age references comic books from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, I believe, where it's a little bit more campy, kind of like the 66
Adam West shit.
Adam West stuff. You know, Joker was more... He wasn't necessarily a murdering, sadistic son of a bitch like he is now.
He was a bank robber.
He would like, oh, we're gonna unleash our laugh gas at the circus and rob everybody while they're laughing, ha 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 ha, stuff like that.
Best idea ever. I gotta go.
Yeah. So yes, originally it was rumored to take place in Golden Age.
So here's my whole point with this. Do we think, since Rocksteady's not making this game, can that still potentially come true? Does it sound like maybe Rocksteady's
Who
making
is
the next
making
one?
the Deadpool game?
Deadpool is Marvel.
Okay.
Shut your warm mouth.
Sorry, I
It's okay. Well, you're in the presence of greatness. It's all right. You're intimidated here. You take a look around the room. You understand that you can't hang with me on this. It's okay.
what happens?
So you were shaking your head no during my whole question.
No.
What do you think?
Well, again, I don't believe that Rocksteady is going to attempt to do another Batman if they've handed off the series to somebody else. Now, theoretically, they could be doing the Call of Duty Assassin's Creed thing where they're working on.
God, I hate
that's
your
fine.
face.
Why? Because I'm right on par with you.
You
We're
did
thinking
ask
the
him for
same
your
way.
opinion.
You did. Okay. I don't think that they're doing that though, because they take their time on the Batman games, and if this one is going the direction that I'm going to touch base on in a minute, then you're going to muddy up the story too much by going back even further, or kind of shifting Batman's...
Call of Duty stayed within a general until Black Ops 2. I guess they stayed in a general.
Well,
40 year
if you want me to go ahead and jump ahead just a tad, from what I've seen for Origins, is it's set in, I referenced it last week, it's just a terminology that we use, is year one. What that is when we comic book people.
I get it.
It's when...
It took me a second, Mark. I get it. Sorry.
It's when Batman was in his rookie years, still, he wasn't the quote-unquote world's greatest detective. He was still making mistakes. He was still trying to figure out everything. He was still developing his character and who he was and his persona and
like
so on.
Like the first Batman movie, where he was still learning.
Yeah, kind of. If you were to do this game in quote-unquote year one and then jump to Golden Age, it would throw off the style and everything too much. You wouldn't be able to connect them properly.
Okay. Unless they were running parallel universes like the comic books have.
They don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I get you.
Bring it back.
Even though technically that's part of the storyline of Injustice, but they don't necessarily do that anymore with comics.
Okay, so I know you briefly touched on it already. My next point was, does this mean we're going to start getting annualized Batmans?
What Jason said.
Yeah, where you have Rocksteady making the big boy.
The big dog.
And then you have another company, whether or not WB Montreal does a good job or not with this next game.
Or Tony Inc. Studios.
Tony Inc. Studios. If WB, bombs, maybe they'll try to find somebody else to do it, but if they do an okay job, are you starting to get this separation of maybe Rocksteady heads into the future, they keep going with their Arkham world, and Montreal handles the weirder ones, the origins, the prequel stories, the tie-in stories.
It's funny that you say Arkham World. And the reason that I say that is because...
It's a city.
Well, no. Hear me out. When Mark Hamill won Best Voice Actor at the Spike Video Game Awards, 2 years ago? When Arkham City came out? He was standing there, and it's Joker up on the screen accepting the award, and he reaches into his pocket for something, and he pulls out a script for Arkham World, and then throws it away, and so on and so forth. So, realistically, they started... at least subliminally teasing this new Batman game 2 years ago. So we're like 3 years in, roughly.
Yeah, I think it was
2011.
Yeah,
2011.
I don't see them trying to annualize Batman when they're already on a 2.5 year schedule
or so. Yeah. Well, when was Arkham Asylum?
2009.
2009 game of the year.
Okay.
Yeah. So every 2 years. I say they're on par. They're fine.
Okay. Okay, let's hop into... This game's been confirmed for current gen titles.
Yeah.
Do we think, since this is getting an October release similar to the Assassin's Creed 4 releases, that there is a potential for it to be next gen as well?
It's quite possible.
Yeah, I think possible is there.
See, I'm actually...
I really want to see what the launch titles are, because there's so many things coming out in that
gray
September
area,
to October.
might as well wait, right?
Yeah, and it's like, well, are they doing it on both, or are they doing it just on the one? I really want a launch lineup more than what I got so far.
It's not outside especially with something like that that's not multiplayer, so you don't really care about the install base.
Yeah,
but to me, it's not outside the realm of possibility, but I really don't think so, because you got games like Assassin's Creed 4 that already announced, just like Batman, and they had no problem. They're like, hey, we're coming out in October, we're coming out on current gen and next gen. I think if this studio had any plans to put it on next gen, they would have already announced it, especially because I think if it was Rocksteady, it'd be different. Because I wouldn't doubt they have dev kits already. Mm-hmm. But WB Montreal, I don't know if they had access to stuff early enough to make something for the PS4 and the next Xbox.
Yeah, potentially.
You know what I mean? They're not a small studio, but they're not Rocksteady. So
I agree.
Okay. Fucking A.
Easy enough.
Yeah. Okay. This one's more speculation, if you will. The sales reports came out for the month of March a couple days ago. Infinite smashed all.
Yeah.
They released all of March and a couple of the last week of February numbers. Tomb Raider did okay. That was fine. Those were number 1 and number 2. Way far down was Gears of War Judgment and God of War Ascension. God of War was like 300,000 units. Gears of War Judgment wasn't much more than that, but it did beat it out.
Yeah! Sorry, I had to.
That's not the point. The point is, those were both prequels.
And they were both developed by outside
studios. And they both did not reach sales expectations. And now we look ahead, and we see the same thing. You guys see where I'm going with this, by all means. Do you guys have any...
When initially it came out that Rocksteady wasn't doing it, I had that little twinge of what I had with Gears. Unfortunately, Gears has met all my fears for the most part. But if, with this franchise being so new, and they're still building their audience, I don't see them taking the same risks that Gears of War and God of War did by trying to change it up so drastically.
Well, I mean, God of War is a different story, but Gears of War, technically it was only their 4th game. And this is Batman's 3rd, so it's not like Gears of War has tons of games out there.
Yeah.
God of War is different. There's 6 of them now.
Yeah, but
that's a different story.
Gears of War is already, a 10-year franchise? As it is?
2006 to 2013.
Okay, I'm a little bit.
10 years, don't worry.
Yeah.
We're an 18-month development cycle.
We're good at math here at Fork Compatible.
Yeah, so, but I mean, it's also, I keep those on a different spectrum than I do. You know, those kind of blew up. Granted, Batman's won Game of the Year awards and so on and so forth, but like you said, you know, they've only had 2 on this entire lineage of Batman. You know, they finally redeemed the franchise. I don't see them screwing it up already.
Batman in general has had a ridiculous resurgence over the last decade or so, where he was always kind of cool and he was always, in my opinion, DC's best asset. But I mean, with the Nolan movies that have come out, and I know they're kind of redoing the comics. I don't read comics personally. They're kind of trying some new stuff, right?
They've got a phenomenal writer doing the new 52 Batman.
Because the guy Miller started everything, right? He was kind of the guy that kicked off the...
Frank Miller in 1987 did Dark Knight Returns, and that's what got us the current type of Batman we have, where it was a darker tone and everything like that, which led into the 89 movie, so on and so forth.
But you know, I'm even in just the last 10 years, I think with Nolan's movies and now with Rocksteady's been doing great work with...
And then they did phenomenal work with the animated series, 2 phenomenal animated movies.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's been a huge resurgence, introducing Batman to a whole new audience of youngins that have been coming across in the last few years. And it's been great. So, of course, these people are going to want to capitalize on it as much as they can. Mm-hmm. And that might be what this new game is. I enjoy origin stories. The best one I can think of off the top of my head is Reach. I think they did an amazing job with that. I know a lot of people disagree with me. I think it's one of the best Halos ever made. But a lot of them fuck them up too.
Yeah.
I think God of War is a lot better than Gears of War's versions. Even though I'm a bigger fan of the Gears of War series over the God of War series. As a whole.
Well, see, if I could interject really quick, having played through Judgment, it's not really an origin story. No. It's just a prequel. I mean, that's all it really is. Your 2 main characters in Gears are Marcus and Dom.
Yeah, and they're not
this is a side story prequel. So, I mean, it already had... Forget the changing of the gameplay and so on and so forth. It already had points against it going forward.
Yeah.
In development, you know, you didn't care as much. Sure, I liked, you know...
I liked them, but they were side characters.
Exactly. They were the sidekicks of the story.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be like if they announced Batman Arkham Origins Robin.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, I don't think it'd be that bad.
That's the same vein that it is, though. Playing through Judgment. Is all right? All of a sudden, you know, you're playing as the sidekicks, trying to find out what they're.
Robin's such a fucking tool. At least Baird.
How dare you, sir?
At least Baird and
we're not going to get into that. Not gonna. No.
He's a tool.
No. Which Robin are we talking about?
Robin.
No, which one?
I've never seen a cool Robin.
Nightwing is badass.
Nightwing is badass.
Nightwing's badass.
I mean, if you're
Carrie Kelly,
bet
she's badass.
The Tim Burton ones. So hold on,
There was
I'm
no Robin in
listening.
Tim
You
Burton.
said which one?
There was no Robin in those.
No, not the third one. Who the fuck made the
Schumacher
third one?
or whatever.
Okay, that guy. I call the new ones the Nolans, the old ones the Burton. I know Burton only made the first two. I know. It's just how I refer to him.
You're talking about Chris O'Donnell.
Yes.
He's like 40.
He sucked.
He played Robin.
Okay, he sucked.
Bad casting.
The new one sucked in the Nolan movies.
Really?
He was awful.
He's not Robin. He's not Robin.
Explain, please.
How can you explain that he's not going to be Robin?
Because
He's totally fucking Robin.
He said at the end of the movie, "Oh, I like your first name." And it's Robin.
okay, because Robin's name isn't Robin for one.
It's Dick Grayson.
Yeah, Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Jason Todd, Carrie Kelly.
Matters not. All douches.
Carrie Kelly was not a douche. She's awesome.
You're not douche.
I'm going home.
But
It's great.
Love South
that was
All three of us just like, douche.
the end of Dark Knight Rises was purely just to fuck with people. Okay.
Really? I thought it was just he wrote himself into a corner and didn't know how to get out of it.
That's a possibility too. That is quite a good possibility.
What the hell was with...
Nolan's brother wrote it, though.
The third one wasn't what I wanted.
Nolan.
The more time
Nolan's
that
brother was
passes,
the
and
writer
the
of all
more I let that movie marinate in my head,
Here's
it pisses me
Here's
off.
the thing for me, right? There was 2 Batman movies released last year. There was Dark Knight Returns, okay, which is the animated movie, and then there's Dark Knight Rises. I hold Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie, in higher standard than I do for the Nolan movie.
But Nolan did such an amazing job with the first two. The third one wasn't even a bad movie. It's just everybody put it, myself included,
I
on
thought
such a mental pedestal, and there was no way it was ever going to reach it, and it fell flat on its fucking face.
It would have made a better if you cut off the end of the movie. Hold on. It would have made a better second movie in the series.
Yeah, and the third one would have made a better...
Exactly.
Yes. I also think that they pushed Joker and Two-Face. They crunched it together in that movie, and that was its only downfall.
Yeah.
Was that could have been spread out to a separate movie.
Yeah, Two-Face
When
could have been his
Joker
own
was
story.
done, you should have cut that movie and made Two-Face another movie.
I agree.
But in the third
Blame
one,
Nolan's brother.
there's just big plot holes. Like it was weeks
Blame Nolan's brother.
at a fucking time that Bane had the entire Gotham City Police Department in the fucking sewer system for weeks or months. And so how the fuck are these people surviving, first of all? Because he wants to kill off all of people in Gotham. So if he wants to kill them, just leave them down there to starve and die of dehydration. But for some reason he's fucking feeding them then into the sewer system to keep them alive, to die from the bullshit that he's about to release. And why the fuck 3-4 weeks after sitting in the sewer system are all these cops still clean shaven? Why? He's feeding them fucking razor blades.
I've got a bigger plot hole.
They're down there for months. Just let them die then. Why leave them all down there and feed them and let them take showers and comb their fucking hair? Makes no goddamn sense.
If Bruce Wayne is completely flat ass broke, and he gets his back broken, and he's stuck in Istanbul or wherever the fuck that prison underground that doesn't
that he
flood,
had to climb out of.
That he climbs out. How the fuck does he get home?
Exactly. There's some weird shit in that movie, dude.
I agree.
Anyways,
He calls it in a favor.
Let's jump
Nolan's
in.
brother.
Hey Jim, remember 1989 in Nicaragua? Time to pay off the debt.
Let's jump into a couple of points here for
I'm out of the game.
Origin, though.
Yes.
Here.
We should probably go back to video games.
Yeah. Where you want to go with this? What do you got next?
Well, I was gonna. It's kind of closing it out. I was gonna kind of compare and contrast. Blah blah blah.
All right. Well, I've got a little bit of news here regarding the game, so I'm gonna spit it out really quick here. We'll see some of the first interactions with some of the mainstays in Batman's Rogue Gallery. For instance, Joker, Bane, Killer Croc, so on.
Is that the room that he had in the first Batman from Tim Burton? That they had that room with all the.
No, those were just weird, like Japanese statues.
So what is this? What's the Rogue room?
The Rogue Gallery. That's the terminology for Batman's villains. They call it his Rogue Gallery.
Oh, Rogue.
Yes,
I
sir.
thought you said robe.
No.
And I thought it was like that room where he beats a guy up and takes his costume and Keeps it as a trophy on the wall.
No, he does that down in the
Leaves it
Batcave
naked everywhere?
with the giant dinosaur and the big fucking penny and so on. That's
stuff like
his
that.
trophies.
Okay.
It appears that Black Mask will be one of the main villains in the game. He first appeared in 85. There's actually 2 different Black Masks.
Is one black and one is slightly darker black?
One is Roman Sonis. I can't pronounce his last name. He was a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne's. Went on to murder his family, become one of the biggest crime bosses in Gotham. He was later he formed his own mob/cult called the False Facers. Mm-hmm. He was later killed by Catwoman and then brought back as a Black Lantern.
Catwoman.
That's a whole nother storyline. Here's where it gets interesting, though. With the game being called Batman Arkham Origins, I thought this was pretty cool. The second Black Mask was Dr. Jeremiah Arkham. He is known for drugging the inmates of Arkham with substances to basically almost like a mind control. So he was controlling Batman's rogue gallery. He dethrones Two-Face and Penguin to become a top crime lord. In the actual game, it is confirmed that Batman will face 8 assassins. It looks like Deathstroke is confirmed as one of the assassins. Looks like Black Mask placed a hit on Batman. You'll see something kind of interesting a la GTA where Gotham Police Department isn't friendly with Batman. They're going to be trying to track him down and chase him down. It'll feature a young Jim Gordon, so probably when he was a captain or whatever. Montreal says they want to stick very close to the look and the feel and the mechanics of previous titles, so that's good. One of the biggest complaints about Arkham City was the traveling back and forth, swinging through the city, blah blah blah. It got boring after a while. They've rectified that. There will be a fast travel system via the Batwing. In order to use it, though, you have to disable different guard towers, kind of like in Far Cry.
Nice. I like it.
That actually makes a lot of sense, because if you automatically unlock fast travel, the point of fast travel should only be unlocked once you've went once on foot / swinging. That's how Red Dead works, too.
Yeah.
You have to unlock it once, then you're free to fast travel.
They're adding an entirely new island called New Gotham. You'll see a bunch of familiar locations like Amusement Mile, which is where you fought Joker, and the Bowery. It is pretty much confirmed it's going to be double the size of Arkham City.
That bitch be big.
Yeah. You're going to be taking on side missions like Grand Theft Auto, where there'll be basically like a crime in progress come over the radio, and you can go assist Gotham Police Department. And there's also going to be Gotham's Most Wanted list, where you can take down...
Kind of like mercenaries.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the side missions will provide upgrades to Batman's gadgets and his abilities. There's something that I really couldn't find too much information on called the Dark Knight system, which will scale the difficulty kind of like what Gears 3 did, where it'll, like, the better that you do, the more it'll ramp up at you.
Games have been doing that lately. Yeah. I know Madden, I think, was sadly one of the guys who started that.
This is what I thought was kind of cool and kind of a throw to LA Noire is you're going to be using Batman's detective skills a lot more in this one. You're going to be investigating crime scenes, interrogating people, analyzing data and stuff.
Analyzing data, though.
There was a standee that's been released, and they show a couple of key characters on the standee. It's Joker, Scarecrow, Bane, Croc, Deathstroke, and possibly Deadshot, who's another possible assassin.
Not too shabby of a lineup.
If they show Joker on there, that leads a big question is if the Joker is, in fact, in this game, will Mark Hamill reprise his role as Joker?
The guy who is doing him currently is actually pretty damn good at it, though.
He is fucking phenomenal.
He is
from
phenomenal,
Injustice?
yeah.
Yes. I've heard people try to do Mark Hamill's version of Joker. This guy does Mark Hamill's version of Joker.
It would
He's
almost be
good.
like, I highly doubt it with an untrained ear would be able to hear a difference.
If they can't get Hamill and he's not the main character of the game, I'm okay with this guy being the side character.
Yeah.
So that's the info that I have currently on Origins.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like, I'm definitely getting it. I'm probably going to get a next gen, I suppose. But I like my Batmans.
Yeah.
All right, so I had a couple. We kind of covered them briefly, but we'll go into them a little bit more because I had like 3 or 4 tie-ins. Shit, we kind of...
We got like 10 more
Okay,
minutes, so we're good.
what does this say about Rocksteady's resurgence in the excellent Arkham stories? Basically, like, I know we kind of went into this, but like how they're bringing Batman back in the video game world.
Well, see, that's...
Other developers want to undertake their projects now.
That's where I found it kind of interesting, because obviously WB Games owns Rocksteady. They bought them out a year or two ago.
Something like that, yeah.
I think that WB Games wants them to apply the same effects that they did for Batman to Superman.
Yeah,
that's what I
think they want to use them to kind of like revive some of the old Lost series.
Yeah,
and there's plenty of them to do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think they've done an excellent job. And when somebody paves the way for something, it's pretty typical for other developers to want to come in and try to replicate whatever kind of success you had. Look no further than Call of Duty. The first-person shooter genre exploded after what they did with Modern Warfare 1, and everybody's been trying to replicate, Call of Duty included, trying to replicate what Call of Duty 4 did. And nobody's lived up to it ever since, and I don't think they will again.
I agree. And I know a few weeks ago we called out Arkham City as not being as good as Arkham Asylum, but I think with
I like them both still.
With the evolution and some of the things that I've read that they're trying to implement into this game, making it more of an open world. Because Arkham City was open world, but there wasn't really a whole lot going on other than drop down to the ground, beat up a couple bad guys, or go to the next mission.
Go into this one bell tower. Go into this one.
Yeah.
So you're swinging around, but you can't go in any of the fucking buildings.
And I mean, it's cool because you're playing as quote-unquote Batman, but in this game, you're playing as Batman. You're going through his day-to-days. Every night, he's not fighting the Joker. Batman in year one was taking down mobsters and fighting, purse snatchers.
Hey,
that's
once in a while, he's got to take some time, eat a bowl of fruit with a lady friend. You know what I mean? You can't be sitting there fighting the Joker 365 days a year.
Exactly.
Yeah, sit around and take some me time. Read the paper, smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
Batman, Joker's destroying the city. Oh, come on.
It's my day off.
It's my day off.
Last time he did that was in a comic book called Widening Gyre, which was made by Kevin Smith. He decided he was going to start scaling back as Batman, and then his fiancée got murdered.
Yeah, that'll happen.
That will happen. Shouldn't take that weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as Rocksteady's concerned,
Where's Bebop?
Jokes. This guy's got jokes.
Yeah, from the 1980s.
Do we think Superman's next?
Yes, I just said that.
And that's why I cut you off, and I was like, we're going to talk about this later.
I know.
To be that one, no. It's
Flash.
I think
Flash. I'm whispering Flash.
Thunder.
I think Rocksteady could go one of two ways. I think they're either making one more Batman game to culminate their trilogy and then move on, or they're done with it because they're going to go the way. Because now DC's going to try. They're going to try to rebrand Superman. They're remaking the Man of Steel movie, so I'm pretty sure Nolan's going to do his little trilogy in the Superman universe. Make him cool and relevant
Nolan's
again.
brother isn't in it.
And then you go back and you start doing that with the video game world as well, where you start getting a couple of the best publishers out there to start making Superman cool again. They'll give him a year one-ish type thing for Superman, and they'll start bringing him back in the fold. Because DC...
They've got some catching up to do.
As big as they are, they're nowhere close to
Marvel.
the arsenal that Marvel has. They only got two figureheads, and they really shot their load with Batman as of late. So you got to kind of
that's where I want to chime in on what you're talking about. I agree that they're going to start the Superman series. I don't personally think Rocksteady's going to go back and do a follow up to Arkham City, because if you haven't beaten Arkham City, you should probably pause this and go play it, because I'm about to spoil the shit out of it, which we have already. Is Joker dies at the end of Arkham City. That is the be-all, end-all Batman story, is Joker dying. Okay? You can't really go anywhere else after that.
What? I know it wasn't as good, but Nolan did it. He went with Bane. You know what I mean? And even Two-Face was technically after Joker.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying they can squeeze another 10 games out of this, but you can make one more game to...
Joker doesn't die in Dark Knight. He just gets captured. I mean, I'm talking about the end of that story between those two. I understand Nolan did it, and the only reason that we didn't even get Joker, which probably would have been in the next movie, is
because Heath Ledger died.
Heath Ledger died. But I think when you're looking at Batman stories, there's two very predominant things that have to happen in those stories. Is that one of them is the conclusion of his long-standing rivalry with Joker, and then his standoff with Batman or Superman.
I think there's enough. Of course, they won't be as iconic as Joker or Two-Face, but there's still enough guys in the Batman arsenal over the course of the last 60, 70, 80 years, however long since Detective Comics posted the first issue. There's enough guys that you can wrap up 10 characters or so for him to face off against to
I don't
bring your
disagree,
trilogy to a culmination.
but I don't think it'll if it wouldn't have the same impact that Arkham City had, that they shouldn't do it, and they can't.
I don't necessarily think that they're going to. I just think that's the only two routes. Either they got one more game in them, or they're going elsewhere.
I think they're going elsewhere. I think they're on to Superman.
Yeah.
Especially with DC now talking about starting to build the Justice League films and whatnot. They're talking about World's Finest. There's the rumor that Christian Bale is on board for another
Batman
couple. Not Batman.
Justice League,
but they're actually talking about doing before that World's Finest, which is just Superman and Batman together, and then into a Justice League movie.
Yeah, so that'd be
which would be epic.
And
Christopher Nolan,
the last thing,
brother, better write it.
the last thing I got before we hop into some final thoughts. Going back to the video games, which one are you guys looking more forward to?
The one on the console.
Yeah,
Any reason? Just because you're a whore?
Come the horror.
I really hope that they bring NetherRealm in to do another mobile tie-in, because the ones that they've done so far for Arkham City Lockdown and for Injustice have been phenomenal.
I was gonna say you could probably almost guarantee it with the other ones. So
Yeah.
I mean, they work closely with
if
WB already.
And if they do some of the work, which what they've did, Injustice is very unique with being able to unlock stuff in the mobile that'll then unlock in the console. I know Mass Effect kind of did it with Infiltrator a little bit, but this is really cool. I think as much as we bash on mobile gaming, this is mobile gaming done right, where you're selling somebody on a console version and then giving them a mobile version for free and go, hey, play our mobile game, you'll unlock shit in the big one.
Also, probably for the people who don't have the game already, they're playing that one. They're like, hey, I already got all these unlocks, might as well get it.
Exactly. It came out a couple weeks beforehand, and I was playing it, and I was like, and then I turn on the console version, and it's unlock. I'm like, woohoo!
Didn't do anything, really.
Really quick, before I finish up and let you guys start wrapping up, Nolan is officially the consultant for any DC films going forward.
Nice. This is his brother writing it.
For me,
his camp, Nolan's camp, is officially,
because I know his brother wrote
just
all
like
of Dark
Rocksteady is doing that. Like they're the consultants for the game. They consulted on the Lego game too.
It's nice.
They're consulting on everything going forward.
His brother doesn't get enough credit. That's why I bring him up at all times.
For me, I think I'm actually looking more forward to the Vita version. I think the console version will be cool, but I've been burned a little bit too much in the past by somebody else taking over the reins, and
It's got a lot of arm here,
I'm a little worried about what WB would do. If it was Rocksteady, I'd be looking way more forward to that.
Me too, a little bit.
But I'm actually on the Vita. It's not that the expectations are lower. It's just you can deal with a couple more faults because it's going to be a handheld game or the 3DS Vita, whatever. If there's a couple flaws, I don't think they're going to be as glaring as they will be on the console when you look at that and compare it to Arkham Asylum or Arkham City. Because I anticipate this will be the worst of the trilogy if it kind of wraps everything up. Whereas the Vita game, Vita/3DS game, it can go a lot of different directions, and I think it'll be a lot more entertaining. I also heard there's no checkpoints. It's save where you want. So I think it'll be perfect for drop in, drop out on your handhelds. You want to play for 10 minutes? Play for 10 minutes. You only got 30 seconds? Play for 30 seconds. You can constantly...
That was a good session.
Wherever you hit stop and save, it'll save it. So that sounds real interesting. I'm still a big fan of 2D games. I play enough 3D games. It's good. It's a good feeling when I get something like a Guacamelee or something like that I can go back and relive a genre from my childhood with better graphics nowadays. And, this potential handheld game could deliver on all fronts. I'm looking a little more forward to that. Like I said, if it was Rocksteady, it'd be Rocksteady's game hands down. But WB Montreal, I'm looking more forward to the handheld one. Final thoughts?
I'll get it. I hope on next gen. Other than that, not too much.
Me? Yeah.
It's we good.
I already shot my load there. I'm spent.
I saw you looking at a girl on your phone, so yeah.
Yeah, quit looking at dudes and girls. The horror.
Batman memes.
As for me, I'm excited about both these games. I'm stoked for anything. There's certain franchises, I guess, that pretty much no matter what they put out, I'll give it a try.
You get a little chubby for?
I might get upset at it after the fact, but I mean, you take stuff like a Red Dead Redemption, an Uncharted, a BioShock, Batman. Even if it looks like ass, I'll probably grab it just because the games.
I played The Walking Dead.
Yeah, the games that predated it were so excellent that I'll give anything with that title on it a chance. Halo's another example. Stuff like that. Gears of War, God of War, all these games. Pretty much any sequel or prequel that they come out with from this point forward, I'll at least give a shot. I might be upset with the product after I buy it, but they pretty much guaranteed themselves of my $60. And the last two Batman games, guaranteed I will be picking up both of these this upcoming October. Whether I like them or not, different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that, everybody. So, anybody else anything?
Nope.
Time for work.
Time for sleep.
Womp womp.
Sleep.
Well, this has been episode 63, part 2. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch us next week, same time, same place.
Part 2s are always good.
You do not get the picture. My name is Dick, not Richard. I live inside a haunted house with a butler that's a fixture. Always making up a mixture for a mister with a migraine. I'm an unimportant orphan. It's my way nor the highway. I spend the morning bored when I used to sword. The trapeze was my tradition. Now I'm wishing I was more. My parents love each other madly, sadly fell to their grave.